Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today, if you like these videos, please start your journey with us and subscribe to our channel Watchbox Reviews. I promise to update daily and I would really appreciate the gesture. If you like this watch, see it and purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today we are discussing one of the first pre-owned examples of the most provocative Panerai of the year and possibly of the decade. This is the Panerai Radiomir 1943 days PAM00791. Part of a pair dubbed the Art Deco Radiomir 1940 by Panerai. We'll talk about the genesis of this dial in a moment, but it's important to note that in steel with plexiglass, traditionally inspired crystal, 500 pieces being made of this and its dark-dialed counterpart, so a limited series and a late-year release. We knew this watch was coming out early on. Spy photos bowed on the internet, and once out of the bag, you simply can't put that cat back in. And people were already buzzing about this watch during SIHH. One feature that hasn't changed and should be relatively uncontroversial is the fit and the size. This is the Radiomir 1940 case, so not the wire lug style inspired by the 3646, but the broader, more robust fashion that came about in the 1940s and ultimately persisted into the 1950s on references such as the 6154 Small Egiziano. You will note that in 47 millimeters across my wrist, it is a big watch. My wrist is 16 centimeters circumference. I would say the lower limit for wearing this watch is probably 15 centimeters circumference. It's thick because of the plexi, and you can see that lovely, warm off-axis distortion, but 16.4 millimeters is the stack height above the wrist. Lug to lug, this one spreads its wings 56.7 millimeters, and if you wish to accessorize, 26 millimeters is the spacing between the lugs. A gorgeous Assolutamente style Panerai strap with the 1970s OP logo, a sort of suede, minimally tanned leather with a contrasting stitch, rusticated flanks with cut fibrous edges. I love that detail, showing the twin layers of folded construction. And then on the underside, you can see Panerai gives up the game. The watch may be made in Switzerland, inspired by Italy, but the strap is made in Austria. Meaty minder loops in their own right, and a polished steel pin buckle to match the polished steel case. Let's get a little bit closer and give ourselves a bit more detail. The case form of the 1940 will be familiar to anyone who has followed Panerai case development, a bit more nuanced as well as historically referenced than the form that bowed in the late 1990s with the reborn Radiomir. This is a more shapely and more complex case form with stronger lugs. Consider it a halfway between a traditional Radiomir and what we today call the Luminor 1950. So this timepiece features that gorgeous plexiglass, but that's just beating around the bush because we need to talk about the dial, the most provocative part of this watch, easily the most original Panerai since the Panerai Bronzo of 2011. That very first Bronzo, the PAM 382, has to be the only rival for this dial for sheer imagination and blue sky thinking. Panerai tends to be derivative of other Panerai. This watch is said to be inspired by a clock found in the original Panerai Florence boutique. Jose Perestroika, who is Periscope on Instagram, is a contemporary critic of Panerai and a peerless scholar of vintage Panerai, and he references this against Rolex pocket watches as well as wall clocks of the 1920s and 30s, and I happen to go by his story. That said, there's nothing controversial about the look, which is sizzling. Whether or not you believe this is the right direction for Panerai, this is an all-in effort, designed to polarize opinion. It's a combination of Art Deco numerals, gorgeous broadsword style hands at center used on no other Panerai reference, a combination of off-white and bronze colorations, and you will note the only engraved detail, the impressed Radiomir Panerai logo, which is impressed into the dial or engraved into the dial and then lacquer filled. Everything else is transferred, so small attentions to detail here really matter. You'll note that there is a double black outline for the chapter ring at center and a railroad style minutes track calibration outboard of the numerals. The color is ivory, it's off-white, it has a tint of yellow, a tint of gold, a little bit of bronze, perhaps cream. It's pure butter, absolutely smooth and incredibly rich. One of the rare modern Panerai models that is not loomed. Turn it all over and you can see the crown features the same 70s OP logo as the strap, and you can see the second generation Panerai caliber OP, or I should say P now that they're all manufactured, 3000. No longer a single monoplate or three-quarter plate. You see there are actually finger components for the bridge structure carrying the train to the balance. So you have half bridges and then a full balance bridge with a free-sprung index for shock resistance. Twin mainspring barrels, satin grain across the bridges, perlage on the base plate, engine turning that is, graining across the wheels, and a beveled machined anglage on the edge of every bridge. You will note full balance bridge and a free sprung index for shock resistance. Twin mainspring barrels for a 3-day, 72-hour power reserve. 100 meters water resistant, screwed in case back, screw down crown. 21,600 vibrations per hour, 21 joules. The in-house caliber giving you a time zone function that allows you to thread that crown out and then jump the hour hand independent of the minutes. So if you travel, you can quickly set the time as you jump time zones without losing precision. Excellent for world wanderers. No longer combat implements. These are luxury products. The fit, finish, materials, and engineering of this watch certainly suit that purpose. A little bit of historical inspiration from the Horlogeria, perhaps? From wall clocks and pocket watches? Probably, but undoubtedly provocative and memorable. See it on the watch box.